Before we dive in, a heads up. This tale explores intense themes. It confronts the turmoil of love, the chaos of family ties, and the sting of betrayal. If these subjects unsettle you, it's best to turn away now. I once thought my life was flawless. Imagine a stunning house in the suburbs, a husband whose love knew no bounds, and a life that appeared on the outside to be a perfect fairy tale. We possessed all we believed we desired. A life that sparks envy in friends and fills family hearts with pride. Life unveils hidden fractures in the shiniest exteriors. At 24, I crossed paths with James. He was 31, but age was irrelevant. His confidence was magnetic, a certainty that pulled me in, as if he held the map to his destiny. In a bustling coffee shop, our hands collided over a single blueberry muffin. It may be a cliché, but when our hands met, an electric jolt surged through me. A surreal, pulse-pounding moment straight out of a film, defying belief in reality. Yet it stood before me. 5 years of love led us to the altar. Our connection was seamless. We'd linger in the dark, sharing whispers of dreams and fears, envisioning our future home and the adventures that awaited us. Our world was a secret, alive with whispers, stolen looks in busy spaces, and slow Sunday mornings wrapped in each other's warmth. He understood me deeply, always attentive, and had a way of bringing laughter, even in my darkest moments. Our wedding was a dream come true. It wasn't a lavish spectacle, yet it held all the significance it required. It was only us, enveloped by our cherished ones, vowing eternity. For a moment it seemed we were destined for eternity. Yet as time passed, everything changed. Not everything at once. We didn't just wake up one day to find ourselves as strangers. It crept in, barely noticeable, yet it consumed everything. Change that hits you only when you pause and truly see. James still loved me, I never questioned it. Yet, the fire that once ignited my heart began to fade. The fervent kisses faded to fleeting pecks on the cheek. The late-night talks shrank to fleeting words about bills and groceries. We remained a team, partners in every way. Yet the intimacy, the thrill had faded. I initially believed it was simply how marriage unfolds. Who really lives in that honeymoon phase for eternity anyway? Life rushes by, routines ensnare you, and comfort becomes a cage. Yet, beneath it all, I longed for the way he gazed at me as if I were his entire universe. I longed for the thrill of being wanted. Then Nina burst into our lives. It was nothing extraordinary. We brought her on as a maid, nothing more to it. James's hours stretched endlessly, while I balanced work in the chaos of home. Cleaning loomed over us, a daunting weight neither of us could bear. A friend praised Nina, professional, thorough, and utterly trustworthy. All you desire in a person who will share your space. In her mid-20s, she possessed a beauty so effortless it ensnared your gaze without a single effort. Her dark, wavy hair cascaded flawlessly over her shoulders, while her piercing green eyes seemed to penetrate the very depths of your soul. It was more than her beauty. It was the way she filled the room. She moved with a quiet strength, an effortless blend of confidence and humility. The first time I met her, I thought she was just here to clean, nothing more. But something in her eyes told a different story. Yet that thought slipped away. Initially, everything felt so polished. She entered, worked in silence, and departed with little more than a fleeting smile and a soft farewell. Yet, gradually whispers began to emerge. Small gestures inquiring about my day, admiring my living room decor, sharing a laugh over my silly remark. Innocent, isn't it? But then I caught the intensity in her gaze. It lingered in the shadows, subtle yet undeniably wrong. Simply unique. Engaged. It felt as if she saw me, truly saw me, in a way James hadn't in ages. I can't pretend I didn't see it, or that it didn't resonate with me. I dismissed it then. She's only being friendly, I reassured myself. Visions swirl in my mind. A seed lay buried within, waiting to grow. Once it arrives, it demands your attention. In hindsight, I can't help but think that was the moment it all began to fall apart. Nina entered our home, igniting a blaze I never knew smoldered within. Initially, I told myself Nina was simply refreshing. A fresh presence in the house, a spark that shattered the dullness of my routine. But soon I understood it was deeper than I thought. I began to see details, tiny fragments that initially felt trivial. My heart raced at the sound of the door clicking open, her arrival igniting a rush of emotions within me. I found myself glancing in the mirror, fixing my hair, adjusting my top, all while insisting it meant nothing. Yet it meant everything. I wasn't prepared to face the truth. Nina had a way of making me feel truly seen. Not in a blatant, teasing manner. It ran deeper than that. She recalled details about me that James had either forgotten or never truly seen. Just a splash of cream, no sugar. That's how I took my coffee. Or how I unknowingly hummed the same tune, lost in thought, each note a whisper of my hidden emotions. One day I casually mentioned a headache. Just a fleeting thought, barely a whisper. When she returned, she handed me a small tin of peppermint oil, claiming it could ease my pain. A fleeting act, yet it lingered in my heart. James never would have considered such a thing. It was more than mere memories. Her gaze pierced through me. Her gaze held an intensity, respectful yet unwavering, as if she truly saw me. She saw the pieces of me that had begun to vanish in the shadows of my existence. Our conversations began with ease. She'd inquire about my day, and I'd return the question, eager to hear her story. But soon our conversations deepened beyond the mundane, touching on the heart of what truly mattered. We'd gather at the kitchen table, tea in hand, sharing laughter over the simplest of moments. She shared fragments of her childhood, whispers of dreams, echoes of frustrations. I opened up like never before, raw and vulnerable. I shared my job, my marriage, the small burdens that felt too insignificant to burden James with. Gabriella absorbed every word. Not merely the polite nodding, but the deep, heartfelt listening that shows true care for your words. It was blissful. Unbelievably amazing. Without a second thought, I found myself reshaping my entire day to fit her rhythm. I'd delay errands or rush home just to be near her. I'd create excuses to stay in the same space, feigning chores just to be close to her. An unspoken tension crackled between us. The spark ignited in our lingering gaze, a heartbeat suspended in time. When our hands brushed, a spark ignited between us. My stomach fluttered like it did when James and I first fell in love. This was something else entirely. This was extraordinary. Perilous threat looms. I struggled to make sense of it. It's only admiration, I whispered to my heart. She radiates youth, energy, and intrigue. That's everything. Yet, beneath it all, the truth gnawed at my soul. Thoughts of her consumed me in her absence. A relentless ache of curiosity. Was she thinking of me as well? She invaded my dreams. In subtle whispers, dreams of us simply united. Near. Bound. Each day, the pull towards her grew impossible to resist. One evening, James found himself trapped in the office, the clock ticking mercilessly. His job often pulled him away, leaving dinner behind. Loneliness enveloped me as Gabriella stepped through the door for her shift. That night held an unsettling weight. We sat in the living room, silence heavy after her cleaning was done. The conversation began with ease, but soon the air thickened. She revealed the pain of a past betrayal, a wound inflicted by someone she once believed in. Her voice trembled with anguish, igniting an urgent need within me to reach out and soothe her. In a heartbeat, my hand found hers. A jolt ignited within me at the brush of our skin. Her gaze mirrored my own, a silent acknowledgement of our shared truth. I stayed close. She didn't either. Instead, I revealed truths I had buried deep within. How profoundly alone I had felt. Love for James couldn't bridge the chasm of disconnection I felt. How I longed for the thrill of being desired, the ache of being wanted. Gabriella fell silent, her thoughts swirling in the air. Her gaze met mine, filled with softness and deep understanding. She leaned in close and whispered, "You deserve to feel wanted." My heart raced, each beat echoing in my ears. I felt the urge to retreat, to put space between us. Yet I didn't. I just couldn't. Her presence ignited a fire within me, leaving me breathless. That night, everything changed without a single touch. A far greater threat was awakening. A line was crossed and emotions surged. Once that line is crossed, there's no return. Thursday evening fell heavy with unspoken words. Thursdays echoed with James's absence, the house heavy with silence. The sky loomed thick with dark clouds, a storm brewing within. When Gabriella finally arrived, the storm had unleashed its fury, soaking everything around her. The rain tapped relentlessly on the windows, shattering the silence that enveloped us. I never thought she'd linger that night. She always wrapped up her tasks swiftly, leaving me alone with my racing thoughts. Yet, an unsettling shift lingered in the air. The air was heavy, laden with an unnameable tension, a silence heavy with meaning. The lights flickered, hesitated, then vanished into darkness. The house lay shrouded in a dim, muted glow from the streetlights outside. It should have sent chills down my spine, but it didn't. It felt deeply personal. It felt as if everything else had vanished, leaving only us in this vast, intimate void. In the kitchen, shadows danced as the candle's flame flickered, casting an intimate glow around us. Gabriella sat opposite me, her face glowing in the warm golden light. She was stunning, beyond stunning. Her presence struck a chord deep within me, igniting a painful longing. We spoke of nothing: the weather's wild twists, the power company's endless delays in restoring light. Yet beneath it all, an unspoken tension lingered between us. The tension crackled, drawing us closer with each heartbeat. And then it struck. Our fingers collided, a spark igniting in that fleeting moment over the mug. It was pure, or it should have been. As our skin met, the world around us faded, and everything else vanished. I held on tight. She didn't either. Our eyes locked, and in that fleeting moment time stood still. Stilled. Yet I burned with an unquenchable intensity. I pulled away, my heart racing, echoing in the silence between us. I attempted to brush it aside, cracking a joke about our clumsiness. Yet the words choked me, refusing to escape. Gabriella remained silent. Her gaze pierced through me, soft yet electric. In that glance, the truth I'd buried surged forth. The longing, the realization, the desire. The walls closed in. My skin was suffocatingly tight. I urged myself to rise, to step back, to create space between us. Yet I remained still. When our gazes locked again, she moved without a second thought. She leaned in, each inch a silent plea, daring me to pull away. Yet I didn't. I just couldn't. Her lips brushed against mine, and everything else vanished. It unfolded slowly, yet held a quiet intensity. It unfolded slowly, each moment heavy with the weight of a long-held secret, a taste we both craved. Her lips, soft and warm, sent a jolt of her scent coursing through me. It was my first kiss with a woman, and everything changed in that moment. I never saw it coming. In that instant, everything else faded away. Nothing else mattered, it just felt so right. In an instant, I felt a surge of life within me. As I drew away, my breath caught in my throat. My heart raced, skin alive with sensation. I gazed at her, my heart racing with turmoil. I can't, I breathed, my voice a fragile whisper. Yet, as the words escaped my lips, I felt the weight of their deceit. My body leaned in, drawn to her. Every fiber of my being cried out for more. Nina held back. She sat still, her gaze piercing into mine. For so long, I've yearned to do that, she confessed quietly. Her voice held firm, yet an unexpected fragility in her words pierced through me. I hesitated, not wanting to cross the line. I feared breaking what was fragile. Her truth struck deeper than the kiss ever could. This was a deep, unshakable connection for her. She sensed a spark that terrified me more than anything else. I needed to confess it was all wrong. We had crossed an unforgiving line, one that could never be uncrossed. Yet silence engulfed me. Deep down, I knew it wasn't a mistake. That night after she walked away, I was engulfed in darkness, haunted by every fleeting moment we shared. Her lips pressed against mine, igniting a fire within. Her hand's warmth ignited a fire within me. My heart raced like never before, a forgotten thrill igniting within me. I convinced myself it would never happen again. A fleeting lapse, ignited by solitude and a wavering flame. Yet, deep down, I felt the truth slipping away. In reality, guilt never touched me. Not how I imagined it would be. What I felt was something far more perilous. Thrill ignites. That was the heart of the issue. Once you indulge in the forbidden, once you awaken buried feelings, forgetting becomes an impossible task. It haunts. It expands. Even as you urge yourself to quit, a part of you craves more. That night haunted me, a promise I couldn't keep. I told myself it was just a mistake, a momentary slip in judgment. Yet, no matter how fiercely I fought to forget Gabriella, she lingered, haunting every thought. In each silent pause, in every void James created, she remained. I believed that staying away would lessen the pain. I lingered outside, heart racing, hoping to avoid her presence inside. I filled my time with tasks, masking the emptiness with false urgency. The instant I stepped through that door and caught a whiff of her perfume, my strength shattered. It went deeper than the surface. The pull was undeniable, an unseen thread binding us, tightening with each glance, each fleeting touch. Everything shifted between us. They pulsed with energy, alive. The fleeting touch of a dishcloth, a brush in the hallway. Each moment crackled with unspoken tension, a spark ready to explode. Words were unnecessary. Our gazes and the heavy pauses spoke volumes beyond what could ever be uttered. It began with a whispered invitation, a gathering cloaked in shadows. James departed at dawn for a weekend business trip, leaving an emptiness behind. I convinced myself this was the moment to find clarity, to start anew. But the moment Gabriella stepped inside, every good intention evaporated. I handed her the coffee, masking the storm inside me. As our fingers brushed while I passed her the mug, time stood still. The air was heavy, stifling. In a heartbeat, I drew her close, instinct taking over. A stolen kiss in the kitchen ignited a whirlwind of emotions. Tangled on the couch, our hands roamed, hearts pounding wildly. It was more than lust. It felt like we were desperately reclaiming every moment we had denied this truth. Afterwards, I sat there gasping, consumed by a whirlwind of emotions. Gabriella leaned against me, and in that moment I finally felt truly seen. Longing surged through me like a forgotten fire. As she walked away, the silence enveloped the house, and the gravity of our actions crashed down on me. James came back the following day, oblivious to the treachery that had unfolded in our living room. He kissed me hello, his arms enveloping me as always, and a knot twisted in my stomach. I swear, this place shines brighter each time I return. He chuckled, a warmth in his voice. Gabriella is priceless. I smiled, nodding, but within me, everything was falling apart. He was completely unaware. He had no idea that the woman he relied on to maintain our home had reached me in ways he hadn't in years. The guilt consumed me, yet it couldn't halt the unfolding chaos. The affair deepened. We threw caution to the wind, seizing every fleeting moment while James was away at work or out running errands. A fleeting touch while sorting clothes ignited secret kisses in the shadows. Whispers in the hallway ignited frantic, gasping moments in the guest room. Yet amidst the chaos, James stayed unaware. He remained the devoted husband, ever thoughtful, ever kind. Yet, each time his gaze met mine, that comforting warmth turned me into a stranger within myself. I loved him fiercely. I did it. With Gabriella, everything changed. She ignited a spark in me that James hadn't in ages. She uncovered pieces of me I never knew were gone. The guilt lingered, an unshakable shadow. A shadow lingers, haunting every moment with James. I found myself studying his face, questioning if he sensed my thoughts. Yet he never did. He placed his entire faith in me. That trust shattered everything. I began to doubt it all. Did I love James enough to hold on? Had I left behind the life we created together? Could love endure when longing and fire ignited in another's embrace? I was lost in the silence of uncertainty. On the brink of a cliff, each secret touch and whispered promise pulled me nearer to the abyss. Tuesday evening arrived, and James's absence was expected for hours longer. He said he had a late meeting, a client that would hold him long after dinner. When Nina arrived, it was as if eternity unfolded before us. In the living room, we let our guard down completely. Her hands gripped my waist, lips brushing dangerously soft against my neck. The rain drummed against the windows, a lonely rhythm, until a sound pierced the silence. The sharp jingle of keys in the lock echoed, a harbinger of fate. In that fleeting moment, I stood still, my heart racing, drowning out the world around me. Nina's eyes flashed with fear as we rushed, me taming my hair, straightening my clothes, while she sprinted towards the back hallway. James's voice pierced the silence, resonating from the front door. "Hey love, I'm back. Early." I fought to calm my breath as he turned the corner, his face igniting with joy at the sight of me. Yet I was aware. I barely recognized my reflection. My cheeks burned, my shirt hung awkwardly. "Hey," he breathed, letting his bag fall to the floor. Nina's car outside caught me off guard. I believed she had finished for the day. I willed a smile to my lips. She's gone. I was cleaning up the aftermath. He accepted it without hesitation. Yet the walls seemed to tighten around me. After that night, everything changed. James's silence spoke volumes. His gaze felt like a weight, heavy and unyielding. He began to see the subtle signs, the way I appeared distant in our talks, how I'd fade away mid-sentence, trapped in unspoken thoughts. One evening we sat on the couch lost in a movie, once our shared joy. I was absent. My thoughts drifted, ensnared by the ghost of Nina's touch, her voice a haunting whisper in my ear. "Are you all right?" James inquired, his gaze sharpening ever so slightly. "Yeah, I'm fine," I answered, the words slipping out too fast, my tone too airy. I caught it, the brief flash of uncertainty in his gaze. He held back, yet the seed took root. That night everything fell apart. James was out for drinks with friends, or so I believed. Nina stood in the house, and we let our guard down. We thought he'd be gone for ages. In our bedroom, the air thick with tension, the front door slammed shut, shattering the silence. A wave of panic crashed over me. Nina rushed, snatching her belongings, and bolted into the nearby bathroom. Before I could even straighten my clothes, James's footsteps echoed in the hallway. Suddenly, the doorknob shook violently. It was sealed tight. "Why's the door locked?" he called, calm yet tinged with unease. My hands shook as I struggled with the lock. As I swung the door open, James's gaze pierced through me, taking in my wild hair, the heat of my cheeks betraying my turmoil. I was merely napping," I stammered, my voice trembling. His gaze flickered into the room, then snapped back to me. "Where is Nina?" My heart shattered. She left just like that. The lie lingered, suffocating and palpable. James fell silent, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. His gaze pierced through me, and in that stillness I sensed my world shatter. "Tell me the truth," he whispered, his voice trembling, barely holding together. "What's happening?" The truth clawed at my throat. The weight of guilt crushed me, stealing my breath away. "Forgive me," I breathed, my words almost lost in the silence. "It's Nina. I never intended for this, but what now?" Yet it did. Yet I was powerless to resist. James recoiled as if struck, his face drained of color, eyes wide with shock. "Was I always lacking?" he gasped, his voice trembling with agony. I reached out, but he recoiled as if my touch seared him. He snatched his keys and burst out the door, leaving me alone in a house that felt vast, hollow and frigid. The walls, once a refuge, now suffocated like a cage, and the silence roared louder than any cry. The house was never the same after James walked away. The space was unchanged, the furniture familiar, the walls unaltered, yet it no longer felt like home. It echoed emptiness. It felt as if our shared life had been drained away, leaving only haunting echoes in its wake. I sat in the living room, eyes fixed on the door, heart racing, waiting for him to return. To step inside, absolve me, and act as if this never occurred. Yet, in my heart, I understood it would never come to pass. I had stepped over a boundary that was now forever sealed. The silence closed in, thick and stifling. I followed each step that brought me to this moment, every look, every caress, every decision I took. Nina's smile haunted me, igniting a fire within that I couldn't extinguish. James's laugh echoed in my mind, his eyes sparkling with joy whenever they met mine. I confronted the question that haunted me relentlessly. Was it all worth it? I gained something undeniably. Nina unveiled a hidden part of me, raw and profound. She ignited a spark within me, making me feel truly alive, wanted and understood. But at what price? The man who loved me without limits is gone. The warmth of our life is gone, along with the trust that once bound us. The woman I once was, the one who vowed never to betray, is gone. Will James ever find it in his heart to forgive me? Do I even deserve this? I can't tell if this was a blunder or the start of a confrontation I was meant to face all along. Yet this much I understand. I never imagined I'd become the betrayer. Life pulls you into the abyss of the unknown. Sometimes you discover who you really are only after crossing an irreversible line.